Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Devil's Digest postgame show for the final time this season at Desert Financial Arena, following Arizona State's 85-67 loss against number 6 Arizona. My name is Justin Lastratosa. Alongside myself, as always, is publisher Hode Rubino. And Hode, let's face it, this is a game that coming in, not many people, if any people at all, predicted Arizona State to come out victorious, and granted, it was an 18-point deficit that they ended up with at the end of the game. However, the box score and the scoreboard itself doesn't really paint the picture of how hard ASU played, especially in the beginning of that second half, and that was kind of the message of that post-game presser. Look, this is a really, really good Arizona team. Bobby Hurley said the best Arizona team he's faced in his time as Arizona State's head coach. However, you just got to pat yourselves on the back. We played hard, and we got to carry that into LA and into the Pac-12 tournament.
Yeah, I mean, he said that in a way, when you look at a 14-point deficit at halftime like ASU had, it really wasn't all that bad in the grand scheme of things. That's Bobby Hurley's words, not mine, because ASU was trailing by as much as 18 points in the first half. I did actually not one but two radio interviews earlier today, and I was saying that I didn't think that whatever ASU loss was going to take place tonight would be anywhere close to that 45-point defeat that they had in Tucson less than 2 weeks ago. And honestly, in the first half, I was kind of doubting myself a little if that actually was or was not going to take place. But if ASU, to their credit, were able to somewhat stop the bleeding midway through the first half. The second half, they really started out with a storm, 8-0. Run to begin the second period. ASU was able to just gnaw at that deficit more and more and more, and able to bring it back down to just 5 points. But ultimately, even though ASU played offensively much better in the second half, defense just really was a struggle. Arizona shot over 50%, not only for the game, but also in each half. And as we talked a lot of times, Justin, if this ASU defense is not playing at a good, if not great level, when they play even teams lesser than Arizona in terms of caliber of talent, the result is probably not going to be in their favor. And tonight was really another example of that. So again, all in all, I mean, you take maybe some pride with how Arizona State did fight back. But like you said, the scoreboard may look deceiving, because when you look at an 18-point loss, you really think that ASU was not in the game at all from tip-off until final buzzer. That wasn't exactly the case, but nonetheless, another sizable loss to their in-state rival. And Bobby Hurley, on the one hand, very disappointed just looking at the result in a vacuum, but when he just goes into the granular of the game, if you will, he was really proud of how this team fought back tonight, even though it did end up as another game in the L column.
And Hode, this loss came down to the same two things that have been haunting this team for the entirety of the season. You mentioned the offense and kind of the slow pace that they had in that first half, along with just letting U of A go on a big run, 30-12, to open up the game. So Hode, sort of combining that lack of offense in that first half with everything that we've seen all season, what is sort of your conclusion at the end of the season for this Arizona State team?
Well, I mean, it's not quite the end of the season, the end of the home season, let's say. But I think just the front court issues are manifesting themselves, especially when you have a team like Arizona. You just look at the game tonight. U of A outscores ASU 44-20 in the paint, have a 13-rebound advantage. Omar Balu, I mean, sure, I know it's easier said than done to stop one of the best centers, if not the best center in the Pac-12, but he has a double-double, just like he did in the game in Tucson a week and a half ago. So I think just the front court issues with this team really prevent them maybe from playing that consistent defense, which is so important for this Sun Devil team to win games. But also when you look at just the way the guards played, granted, the second half was really better than the first half, but you didn't have that balanced scoring that we saw, let's say, in a game like a win against Washington State or some other wins earlier in Pac-12. I felt that ASU was maybe giving U of A just a little too much respect and really settling for a lot of jump shots, which, let's face it, in the first 10 minutes of the game were simply not falling for ASU at all. And then and really when Omar Balu actually was on the bench, I thought ASU was actually going to really drive to the paint and really force their will on U of A, but they really didn't do that at all in the first half. The second half, we really did see a lot of that. We saw Jose Perez with his patent mid-post game. I like to say it sometimes looks like an old man in a YMCA pickup game, just back up, and just score. But it's something that actually did work well for ASU in stretches, even when Omar Balu was in the game. But just the inconsistency on defense, that's what really just hurt ASU a lot. Because another aspect that we just talked ad nauseum, that when you get ASU in a half-court set on offense, usually good things do not happen for this team. This team is definitely a team that feeds off turnovers, feeds off good defense, feeds off a lot of baskets in transition. And against a team like U of A, which again was shooting over 50% for the entire contest, you're just not going to get that many turnovers. You're not going to get that many misses where you can just jet out and score in transition. So again, those are issues that even against teams middle of the pack, ASU would probably find itself on the losing end. But when you play a team like Arizona, like you mentioned earlier, Bobby Hurley said the best Arizona team that he's seen in his 9 years coaching ASU, a team that, barring really unforeseen circumstances, is going to get a #1 seed on Selection Sunday. You just really cannot afford to make those mistakes, because just every little mishap that you make, and ASU made quite a bit of mishaps in the first half especially, you just pay, and you pay dearly against U of A. You definitely like the somewhat semi-comeback, if you will, bringing down the deficit to 5 points, but it just seems that if you're exerting so much energy just because you had a huge hole to dig out of from the first half, maybe sometimes that fatigue really does catch up with you, and ASU is not a deep team, as we know, so that's another aspect that really hurt them tonight against the Wildcats.
And Hode, with this being the last home game of the season, also comes senior night, and with that, seniors Jose Perez, Alonzo Gaffney, Zane Meeks, and of course Bobby Hurley Jr. were all honored before the game. And you got guys like Jose Perez and Alonzo Gaffney who have been two crucial parts to this rotation all season long. Then you got a guy like Bobby Hurley Jr. who hasn't really seen the floor too much, but still provides crucial impact to this team. And Bobby Hurley touched on that post game. Hode, how important do you think those four players are to this program, whether they're on the floor or not? And what do you think that speaks to this entire team?
Yeah, I think Jose Perez has been absolutely a godsend for ASU. They brought him when they were in a limbo status with Adam Miller, not knowing if he was or was not going to be eligible for this year. And Jose Perez just fell in their lap after the West Virginia head coach was fired, Bobby Huggins. Jose Perez found himself again in the portal. So for ASU to get him and really really enjoy his offensive scoring, his leadership, I also felt like it was just a really strong effort player. I think he definitely did help a lot, quite a bit. Alonzo Gaffney, I think, is one of those players that really just has the Sun Devil fan base just divided right in the middle in terms of really appreciating what he does, or maybe not being some of his biggest fans. To Bobby Hurley's credit, not only tonight, but really even earlier in the season, he really defended Alonzo Gaffney a lot, even though he's not a deft shooter from three-point range. He does take a lot of shots, from beyond the arc. Tonight he was 2 and 9, I believe, from that range, and that's something that really does rub fans the wrong way. Now we saw against the win against Washington State, not that they had a horrible game offensive by any means, but he put a lot of effort, on defense, especially with rebounding. I believe he had 2 blocks tonight, so he does have some aspects of his game to be well-rounded, but rightfully or not, I just think the fans just really get hung up a lot on his inability to shoot the three-point shot, but yet some nights really taking the most shots from that range compared to players like Frankie Conson and Adam Miller, who are much better shooters from that range. I even put Jamiah Neal, in that category. I even put a guy like Bryson Long in there, but obviously as we reported the other day, because he had a seizure over Christmas break, he wasn't able to contribute a lot to ASU. So maybe as a matter of Gaffney just really needing to take the three-point shots that Bryson Long would normally take. So that kind of goes into the equation. Zane Meeks, we just really didn't see a whole lot of him. He just had a foot injury that he was not able to fully heal from much earlier in the season. Another 6'8" big body that could have helped the front court for ASU. So, when you just look at some of the missing pieces that this team had, Zane Meeks is a guy that definitely is one piece that really could have helped. Really, that classic stretch four with his length and with his three-point shooting could have helped Sun Devils quite a lot. Bobby Hurley Jr., like you said, somebody who he didn't play a whole lot at all, but I thought it was just really touching to hear Bobby talk about his son being a better person than he ever will be. I thought that was really cool to see him not only start the game because it was senior night, but also had 2 offensive rebounds in the 2 extra minutes that he played. But somebody that is just a fan favorite, a really favorite among his teammates. So for players that are pretty good senior class, some contributed more than others. We're not really summing up the season quite yet, but I think there really is a good nucleus here in Tempe that if ASU can keep, and obviously having adequate NIL funds is going to be the end-all be-all to achieve that feat. I think there's a good base for ASU to build on. They do have a top 25 recruiting class, so if you can bring back guys like Frankie Collins, Jamiah Neal, and Adam Miller to start off with this recruiting class that really brings you actually a lot of good front court players, maybe this team can really fare better next year. Then again, they are going to be in the Big 12 conference, and I don't think you're going to find too many who disagree that is the best conference in the nation right now, and I don't think it's going to change a whole lot next season. So we'll see if ASU is able to replenish some of the players that lost in senior night. I think they can, but we're still a long ways away, I think, from making that final determination.
This might be the final time that ASU sets foot on the DFA hardwood this season, but they're still about to hit the road as they will take on the LA schools, UCLA and USC, to close out their regular season. For the final time here at Desert Financial Arena this season, this has been Justin Lacertosa and Hod Rubino. To stay locked in on everything Arizona State sports related, go to DevilsDigest.com. Follow Devils Digest on Twitter at DevilsDigest. We'll see you guys next time. Have a great night.